I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First on our agenda tonight, we have the approval of the meeting minutes from our previous meeting.
So
What is your
moved.
pleasure?
Support.
Been moved by Commissioner Wayhill, supported by Commissioner Winfrey. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Now we've come to our public speaking portion of our agenda. If there is any member of the public who wishes to address this body, please come forward, give us your name for the record, as well as your city, township, or village of residency. You'll have 2 minutes to speak. Thank you.
My name is Stephen Lowe, and I am the director of the Flint Jewish Federation, which is the hub of the Flint and Genesee County Jewish community. I reside in Grand Blanc. And I appreciate having the opportunity to speak in favor of the adoption of a resolution declaring May Jewish Heritage Month in Genesee County. Henry Brown was the first Jewish permanent resident of Flint, moving here in 1859. The Flint Jewish Federation and Jewish Community Services had its beginnings 88 years ago when it was initially known as the Flint Jewish Charities. The Bible commands, "Justice, justice shall you pursue." And Robert Seeger, Esquire, Jewish Flintstone, argued the Virginia tax poll case before the U.S. Supreme Court in 1966 and won. This landmark case found the requirement of poll taxes to vote in state elections was unconstitutional. Based on timeless values expressed in the Torah of compassion for the poor and downtrodden, the widow, the orphan, and the refugee, the Flint Jewish Federation is part of an international web of agencies that provide assistance locally, domestically, and in over 70 countries worldwide. It is consistently ranked among the top charities in the world. We are always among the first on the ground responding to earthquakes, wildfires, tsunamis, financial collapse, hurricanes, and tornadoes in our own country and around the world. When Flint suffered the water crisis, Jewish communities around the country and in Canada responded with truckloads of water and toiletries and donations of cash to assist both short and long-term needs. Jewish Social Services of Flint was established as an independent agency in the mid-'80s to provide a more comprehensive social support network for members of the Jewish community of Genesee County. Over the next decade, the nature of social services evolved and client groups expanded. Flint Jewish Federation and Jewish Community Services eventually merged, even as their mission continued to expand. Locally, we provide transportation services both in and out of county, congregate meals, mobile meals, and assessment and referral services without regard. Oh, is that my time?
Yes, you're able to summarize. Please summarize.
Okay. We collaborate with institutions throughout the area for the betterment of Flint and Genesee County, and I hope that this will be persuasive in your passage of the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any additional members? Yes, it's okay to clap in a meeting like this. Go ahead.
Morning, good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the Board of Commissioners. David Layton, County Prosecutor. A personnel update for you. My longtime Chief Assistant, Tammy Phillips, retired effective this past Friday. And effective this past Monday, I have elevated John Potberry, who was the Deputy Chief Assistant, to the position of Chief Assistant Prosecutor. And I have appointed Mike Tesner, who was the head of our appellate division, to be the new Deputy Chief Assistant Prosecutor. So we have some change of the guard over at my place, but I suspect and I anticipate and I'm confident that we will continue on to provide justice for the people of Genesee County. I have great faith in John and Mike, and I thank Tammy publicly for doing a great job these past 8 years as chief and 28 years in total as an assistant prosecutor for Genesee County. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor. Are there any additional members of the public who wish to address this body? Any additional members of the public who wish to address County Commission? Any additional members of the public who wish to address this body? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Next on our agenda, we have our appointments. I don't see any additional communications. Are there any? All right. Now we have before us our appointments. I want to turn the floor over to our chair of our Appointments Committee, Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution 2025-1741, approval of a request to for the reappointment of Mike Keller to the Genesee County Parks and Recreation Commission. The term of this appointment is 1/1/25 through 12/31/28.
All right, been moved by Commissioner Cousineau, supported by Commissioner Brown. Any discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
If Mr. Freeman would explain this one, this appointment was done a little differently than our normal process.
Appointments to the Genesee County Parks and Recreation Commission are done a little bit differently. The enabling resolution of their bylaws dictate that their bylaws, their enabling resolution dictates that the county board chair makes a recommendation to the full board and that the board votes on that recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As many of you know, I think our parks we have wonderful parks throughout our county, but I don't think we've really reaching our full potential of what we could offer our residents and what we should do. I always like to see it go out so we get fresh ideas, and sometimes the person that's there is the best person for the job, and I'm not saying Mr. Keller is wrong, but I want to see some change over at the county parks. I want to see some new ideas. You know, we become a major landowner, but yet the policies that have been provided over there are not for programming, not for creating events. So I'd like to see something new and some new ideas. So for that, nothing against Mr. Keller, but I will be voting no.
All right, any additional discussion? Commissioner Getzinger.
Thank you, Chair. I would just like to say I sit on that commission now, and I've only been on it maybe a couple months. Mike seems to be a pretty active member of the commission, so I know we haven't gone through our process, but do we normally do that process for this? Or is this one outside that?
This one, as Josh was saying, is different. It's appointment of the chair, and then we decide. But we still have to vote on it. He recommends it, so we don't go through the normal process of actually, or the new process, should I say, of sending them out for, applications, reviewing them, and then voting of who makes the cut. So this is done slightly different due to the bylaws.
All right, Commissioner Cousineau and then Commissioner Wayhill.
For a point of clarification, does the county park board vote on this to reappoint him and then pass it to our chair for recommendation? Is that how it works?
No, that is not the case. It's recommended only by the chairperson to the Board of Commissioners for an up or down vote. This does not come through their commission. They don't vet it, that kind of thing. No.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I haven't seen Mike Keeler in some time, but I do know him as a very active member of the community, especially in the college cultural neighborhood. I know I was on city council from 2009 to 13 representing that area, 7th Ward, and both he and his wife, Sherry Hayden, were extraordinarily active, especially on environmental issues. I haven't observed him as a member of the Parks Board, but I would think that he would bring that same emphasis on service and knowledge of and passion about the natural environment to this to this task, so I'll be supporting his reappointment.
Is there any additional discussion? Commissioner Flewelling and then Commissioner Cousineau.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just echo Commissioner Shoemaker's concerns that we don't get stagnant on some of these appointments, and maybe we can engage the Parks Commission to maybe update their bylaws, come up with a different direction for appointments, for goals and objectives.
Thank you. Commissioner Cousineau.
In all my years of being down here, I've never sat on the Parks Board. However, I have gone to a number of their meetings throughout the years, and Mr. Keeler seems to be very active on the board. So I'll be supporting him.
Commissioner Brown.
I'll be supporting him. I too agree that we need to be consistent with our appointments, but I did have a conversation with the director of our Parks organization, our department, and it was assured that his attendance is great. He has tremendous value to that board, and so I will be voting in favor.
Any additional discussion? All right. So a couple of things that I wanted to look at and considering if I will recommend to this body his reappointment to the board. I wanted to understand his attendance on target, but also, you know, he's been exemplary in just his engagement in community, also in his work at the Parks Commission as well. I also wanted to check in with the commissioners who are appointed to that body as well. Had some conversation with Commissioner Getzinger, and he spoke about, you know, what he's observed, but I also reached out to Commissioner Avery, who's unable to be with us today. He's away, you know, in some very, very important high-level meetings as well. And he also talked about how engaged he was and so on and so forth. And then I also reached out to Mr. Keeler and asked him about some of his perspectives and ideas as it relates to the Parks Commission. And it was clear to me not only that he desires to still serve, but also he continues to have great ideas that he wants to contribute to the Parks Commission and very, very much passionate about that work. I am in favor of, you know, looking at appointments that come down the road to see if it makes sense to have some adjustments. But in this case, I think that he is one of the star players on that board, and I think that it would be, you know, really not best for the board to take him off the board, and thus the recommendation. So I appreciate the discussion. Any additional discussion, follow up to that? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay?
Nay.
All right, motion passes. Mr. Shoemaker, to you for item number 2.
I'm sure the rest of you have read all these. I'm going to make a motion that, or I would like someone to make a motion to move item 2, 3, 4, and 5. That would add all these to send out for advertisement and go through our normal process of applications now.
All right, I believe that was supported by,
2, 5, number 5, and that also.
Yep, 2 through 5, yep.
all right.
He moved it, I supported it.
Okay, so it's moved by Commissioner Wayhill, supported by Commissioner Flewelling to move, and I'm going to read these just for the public knowledge. They are resolutions that, if passed, will be approval to advertise 4 appointments to the Genesee Health System general member positions. They're general member positions. 1 appointment to the Genesee Health System. This is the primary consumer position. There's 1 appointment to the Genesee County Land Bank. This is a City of Flint resident position. And approval to advertise 1 appointment to the Genesee County Land Bank. And this seat is designated for an out-county, non-City of Flint resident. All right, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Now we've come to our reports of the standing committees. I have no report at this time. Next, we have the Community and Economic Development. Dr. Beverly Brown, chairperson. Dale K. Wayhill, vice chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to defer to the Vice Chairperson, Commissioner Wayhill, since I was absent from that meeting.
Commissioner Wayhill, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Resolution 2025-1580, approval of a request by Genesee County's Planning Department to attend the 2025 Michigan Transportation Planning Association Conference in Holland, Michigan. The travel dates are from July 22nd through 25, 2025. The cost of travel is for 5 staff members.
All right, been moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Cousineau. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, I move Resolution 2025-1718, approval of a request by the American Junior Golf Association for a 3-year sponsorship of the Randy Wise Junior Open at Spring Meadows Country Club. Total cost for this sponsorship is $37,500. The cost of this sponsorship will be paid from Genesee County's accommodation tax.
All right, excuse me, it's been supported by the vice chair, moved by the vice chair, supported by Commissioner Flewelling. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Is there a report from the Community Economic Development Committee?
Not at this time. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much.
Unless Dr. Brown has anything she wants to.
No report.
Okay.
No report. Thank you both. Now, that brings us to our Finance Committee. Commissioner Martin L. Cousineau, Chairperson, Commissioner Gary L. Getzinger, Vice Chairperson. Mr. Cousineau.
I move Resolution 25-1360, approval of proposed amendment to the 24-25 appropriations resolution in the amount of $25,000 to provide for the physical file storage and retrieval costs for the remainder of the 2025 fiscal year. The transfer from the general fund balance will be deposited into account as follows.
All right, moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Getzinger. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes.
I move Resolution 25-1548, forwarding to receive and file a copy of the paid county bills for the weeks ending 3/23/25, 3/30/25, 4/06/25, and 4/13/25 in the total amount of $27,211,170.88.
Support.
All right, been moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Winfrey. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Move Resolution 25-1587, approval of the Kearsley Creek Grandview Branch Drain Note in the amount not to exceed $205,000. The cost of this note will be paid by special assessment of the drain district.
All right, been moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Winfrey. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes.
I move Resolution 84, approval of proposed budget amendment to 24-25 appropriations resolution for various line items as described in the attached budget adjustment request.
All right, been moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Getzinger. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes.
I move Resolution 25-1688, approval of a proposed amendment to the 24-25 appropriations resolution to provide for increased employee cost and travel costs. This amendment requests $32,000 in general fund balance to be allocated to the attached line items.
Been moved. All right, it's been supported by Commissioner Shoemaker. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes.
I move Resolution 25-1711, approval of a request by the Genesee County 911 Consortium to increase the 911 surcharge to $3.
All right, been moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Flewelling. Any discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the chair to whoever can answer the question that I had laid forward last week on how we were going to handle the city of Fenton's funding, and we were supposed to do some research on this between now and then. I was wondering what we'd found out.
We sent a request for a meeting with you. You wanted to sit down and talk with the attorneys about it
On that one.
Monday morning?
When?
Monday morning. Ask him for some times that you were available to meet on
I
it.
apologize because I didn't see it. But can somebody explain to me, though, is it as simple as what we talked about last week? Is it simply because the debate and the question I was asking was nothing to do with the meeting? The simple fact is this: do we as a body need to vote to make sure their funds are increased like we did 6 years ago? Or is it something that by the passage of this, the funds will automatically increase to the city of Fenton because of the increase of the $3?
So there's two questions there. I'll answer the second one first. The increase in the surcharge is going to increase the total revenue, and so it's going to increase the city, the amount that the city of Fenton gets. So we don't need to do anything to increase what they're going to get. Now, I think the other question is the important one that maybe we need to discuss, further. But the county is simply a pass-through for this 911 surcharge. There's a state charge and there's a county charge. It comes to us and we distribute it according to the state law. And the state law says if there's a service plan that provides for the distribution, we have to follow that service plan. And that service plan says that of the revenue that encompasses the population of the city of Fenton, because that's how they determine the distribution of the money. Because Fenton runs its own 911, they get 80% of that total revenue, and the other 20% goes to the county 911. So they will get an increase with no, this board doesn't need to do anything, they'll just get the increase. But that second part is they still only get 80% of the total.
I'm just going to continue, Brian. Thank you for answering that question. I'm just confused because when I first got down here, one of the first things we did within the first 2 months was vote, because there was an increase in the past also, and we voted to move that forward and allow them to get that increase. So I just don't understand why then and why not now.
I would rather discuss that in a different forum,
all right.
but, and we can do that.
Okay. If I may continue.
sir.
Just so the residents are aware of our county, when will this take effect on their bills? When will they start seeing this?
I believe it's July 1st.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Any additional discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Move Resolution 25-1736, approval of request by Genesee County's IT Department to purchase IT equipment as part of the Equipment Refresh Program with Dell Incorporated.
Support.
All right, been moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Shoemaker. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Is there a report from the Finance Committee tonight?
Not this time.
All
Thank
right.
you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much. And now that brings us to our Governmental Operations Committee. Chairperson, Commissioner Dale Wayhill, Vice Chairperson, Sean Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Resolution 2025-0049, approval to establish a budget for the purchase of a search and rescue canine vehicle upfitting, and the related canine training and supplies expenses that will follow. The request is to establish expense line as listed in the amount of $41,000 to issue purchase orders to Northern Michigan Canine, $10,500, and Arrowhead Upfitters, $26,902, and to establish the following expense line as listed to cover the canine training and related supplies expenses from various vendors.
Support. All right, been moved by the chairperson, supported by Commissioner Winfrey. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, I move Resolution 2025-1507, approval of Genesee County's debt management policy.
All right, it's been moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Winfrey. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Dr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank the person or committee who drafted up this policy. I think it's a prudent policy. I did have one question. If Crystal could come forward regarding the paragraph that talks about continuing disclosure requirements. And my question has to do with the last sentence that says, however, certain significant negative events may cause the entity to have to provide information to the MSRB within 10 days of the event. So I was just curious about what types of negative events, how are those defined? And, you know, that might cause the county to have to drop everything and then report within 10 days.
Yes, there's approximately, I think there's 18 items that we have to report on within 10 days if they occur. One of them is if we are delinquent on bond payments, which we are not. If we have a change in our bond rating, we have bond ratings, I think they're annually. So if our bond rating goes down, that would have to be reported. If we were to file for bankruptcy, things like that. I kind of equate it to like reporting to the credit bureaus at home. You know, if you're missing your payments, it's letting the lenders you're trying to get money from know you're making bad choices. This is for those that hold bonds. They want to know, as investors, if we're doing anything that could negatively impact their ability to get repaid for the investment that they made.
Thank you. And one more question. And you don't have to mention any financial institution or anything like that, but I'm curious if you could talk about the relationships that we have with banks that help fund or supply loans for the county. And can you talk about the aspects that the county look for so that the public is aware of what kinds of attributes we look for in lenders?
So we recently have been making a switch from JP Morgan Chase to Huntington Bank. A lot of the costs on that bank side were increasing over time. We were finding when the DTR was going out for their tax anticipation notes, JP Morgan stopped bidding on those and said they only do that for current clients. We had a lot of money with them, so that was kind of a key for us to say that, you know, they don't value us as much as we thought they may have. So we had been doing a lot of research on things with Huntington Bank. As we were looking at capital bonds, I could call a Huntington contact and ask them to do an amortization schedule for us within an hour or so, and Josh and I could have a conversation on what that might look like. We also were able to compare those rates to what was currently in the market, as well as reach out to other banks and get quotes for bonds of similar sizes. Huntington, you know, was always the best rate for us, which is why we had brought those to you. We also have found that Huntington has a lot more on the technology side for us. The current P-card vendor we're using, you know, we have to mail a check, which may be out there for 2 weeks. So in the meantime, we're tying up our credit balance. Huntington is going to allow us to do a transfer right away that same day to free up that credit for the county to use. So that's part of why the Treasurer's Office looked at Huntington as a bank to switch to.
Okay. Well, thank you for being prudent in analyzing all of those things. One more consideration I'd like to offer, and this doesn't have to alter the policy at all, but I'd like for us to also consider those financial institutions that have an excellent rating in terms of community reinvestment or a satisfactory rating in terms of community reinvestment. If they have any ratings lower than that, I don't think we should be doing business with them. So that's just my feedback. Thank you.
Oh, and the key reason this was brought to you for approval is our bond rating agency, every time they rate us, they keep asking for this. It's like a best practice that we have not had in the past. So that's why I brought it to you for your attention and approval.
Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. Thank you, Commissioner Dr. Brown. All right, is there any additional discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes.
Mr. Chair, I move Resolution 2025-1547, approval of the Genesee County Volunteer Time Off Policy.
All right, it's been moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Winfrey. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Flewelly.
Mr. Chair, for reasons that I've stated in a different setting, I will not be supporting this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the chair, it's less of a question, more of a statement, again, to my fellow board members before they vote on this. I really want you to think about whether this is going to put an undue burden on departments by giving these days off. We have certain departments, especially our sheriff's department, that have told us in many meetings that they are understaffed, they need more people, and by giving days off, yes, that time is not overtime on those days off they have, but guess what? To make up that time, they're gonna have to work overtime, because when you have short staff, that's what happens. The job needs to be done. Unlike other departments within our county, they have to work 24/7 and stay open 24/7. It continues on. And by passing this policy, and I have other problems with the entire way the whole negotiations and contracts were handled, but that's a different story. But I really believe this is going to increase your overtime. And I think if you really look at it objectively, you will also see that, yes, this is going to, especially in those departments. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any additional discussion?
So I appreciate what Commissioner Shoemaker had to say. So it's causing me to ask a couple questions of staff who will administer the policy. So at my regular employer, we have something similar where we allow, it's actually individually based, so it's not volunteer events. It's individuals going to their supervisor, requesting time off to do volunteer work. There's a set number of hours that they're allowed to do in a given period of time. Supervisor has to make the assessment as to whether that person, that they can afford to have that person not on duty doing work at the times that the person wants to do volunteerism, and be compensated for it. Is that our intent with this policy as well, so that if there's a situation where a department head or a manager feels that it will imperil the ability to get the work done, they can refuse it? Is that right?
That's correct, yeah. Our number one objective is to operate a county and conduct that business, and we're not going to put departments in a position where that would be jeopardized.
Yeah, so thank you for that. I'll add that I do appreciate, I remember Commissioner Flewelling discussing his views on this in maybe more than one other setting, and certainly Commissioner Shoemaker. Part of me wants to make sure that, assuming this passes, that a year from now, we have someone come before us and talk about the value that it's added. I know that the primary, at least I think the primary intent is to improve morale. Secondarily, probably show the community that the county believes in the community outside of the walls that we work in. But we also need to make sure that we have some sort of measure. And I don't know if that's an employee satisfaction survey, or maybe it's surveys about the volunteer experience, maybe it's all of the above. But I would be very interested as chair of this committee, assuming I'm still in this role in a year, to know how it's working and to have some feedback on it. So, thank you.
Any additional discussion? Commissioner Dr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would echo Commissioner Wayhill's comments in that we do need to pass new policies and really refine a lot of policies that we have. But at the same time, we need to make sure we constantly reflect on perhaps unintended consequences with a policy. And there may be things that impact the staff or the department or constituents that we may not foresee at this moment. But one of the things it says in this policy is that paid volunteer days shall not be used to create overtime. Utilization of paid volunteer time must be approved in advance. And so I trust and respect the department heads to really use, prudence when implementing this policy. And so I also really want to emphasize reflection over the policy to see how it's been administered over the last year. And so if we could make sure we have that on our agenda for a year from now, I'd love to analyze it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Shoemaker.
Okay. Can somebody tell me what it says in the policy if their 2 days off have been denied for the entire year and they get to the end of the year and there's no time, there's no volunteer, because we're going to approve what the volunteer days are. We're going to approve where they go and so on and so forth. So let's say those are most in the summer, and let's say they get to the end of the year, they were denied their days. What are they going to do for those 2 days? Is it in the policy?
They have no cash value. It's in the contracts.
So we're talking about morale, again, because we're building morale, but we're going to tell them we can deny when they do it, and if they don't get it, they don't get it. I would like to see at that same time that Dr. Brown wants to see the report of how it's been handled. I would like to see those weeks and the weeks following the overtime report in those departments. So if we went out and we volunteered and we did something the first week of the pay period, I would like to see the overtime for the next 2 weeks. And see if it increased. It's a measurable expense then. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Flewelly.
One more time, I've asked this question before previously. How many employees does this affect?
We are attempting to include it in all of our contracts, so around 1,000.
So we're looking at 16,000 man-hours, so to speak, throughout the course of the year. Will the denial be grievable?
Imagine you can grieve anything.
Well, you can grieve it, right. I just, I guess that's another aspect to it, right? You can't lose employees for 16,000 hours and think there's no overtime. And then how many grievances are dealt with, like Commissioner Shoemaker said, in December, when it's denied and they want to volunteer with Santa. So, thank you.
Any additional discussion? All right, I have some brief discussion. I'd like to request a substitute motion to amend this policy. I'll tell you, as a part of discussion on the original motion, what I'm looking to do. And then, the chair is able to make motions, although it's rare, but I prefer not to do that. And so, if you agree to what I suggest, somebody can just state, so moved, and that'll be the maker of the motion, and then someone can support it. So there's been talk about, us approving the actual date, but the policy doesn't say that. It just says under authority and responsibility on page 1 of the policy that the board office is responsible for selecting and announcing dates. I'd like to have that language amended to read, the Board of Commissioners will approve events and announce dates. Because these are dates that we're paying for, right? I believe that those dates that we want to kind of sanction as volunteer dates, Genesee County approved volunteer dates, I think those dates should come to the Board of Commissioners for us to vote if we want to direct resources, because that's basically what it will be. We'll be dedicating resources to that event, and I think that we should kind of review that, approve it, have somebody present what that event is, and so on and so forth. And so that's my desired amendment, that we amend the third sentence under authority and responsibility to remove the language, the board office is responsible for selecting and announcing dates, and amend it to read, the Board of Genesee County Board of Commissioners will approve events and announce dates.
So, Mr. Chair, I'm open to that. What if we were to say the board office would recommend dates to the commission for approval? Would you be agreeable to that?
Yes.
So that there is involvement, obviously?
Yes.
So I will make that amendment to my original motion, or I'll make that, I'll move to amend the original motion with that.
All right. Thank you. Is there, so you've amended your original motion. Who supported this original motion?
Winfrey.
Commissioner Winfrey, are you agreeable to continue to support that? All right. So, so that becomes the new motion. In discussion, just a point of clarification. So it was, with either way it reads, it was still the intention or functionality of that the board office would do just that. And then we would take the action and they would announce it on our behalf, but they would be doing it on behalf of the Board of Commissioners. So I just want to clarify that. All right. Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, seeing none, all in
Roll
favor?
call, please.
Roll call. So there's a roll call on, this motion now is a motion to amend the policy. This is not approval of the policy. So a yes on this roll call will be to support the amendment of the policy to read as just discussed. A no vote will be a vote. So, thank you. So back to the maker of the motion. Do you want to take it as the amending it first and then voting on the policy? Or is your motion to do it all at one time?
Well, I don't know what Commissioner Winfrey wants to do, but I think what I'd like to do is amend the policy to reflect what you've said, vote on that, and then vote on the main motion of adopting the policy.
All right. So hearing what you said, your motion is to amend it first. That's all. We're
Yes.
taking amendment.
As we
Commissioner
have
Winfrey, are you in
discussed.
support?
I'm in agreement.
All right, so for clarification, the motion on the floor is to amend the policy as already mentioned. Is there any additional discussion? All right, Commissioner Brown.
I just want some clarification on what the amendment that we are voting on. Can you, so are you looking at the Board of Commissioners presenting a list of approved?
No, so I don't actually have the policy in front of me, but he's got it written, and the reason I couldn't read it is there was a lot on there.
I can provide the clarity.
So it's really about the board office recommending to the full commission the dates and projects, I think, for these volunteer events, and that we would then be, it would be incumbent upon us to formally adopt them in a vote, and then they would be announced countywide by our staff,
Yes.
instead of the board office deciding dates, times, locations, and just issuing those.
All right. Any additional discussion? So it's the difference between our staff picking the dates and announcing them and us kind of finding out what everybody else, or if they send us an email and say these are the dates, or them determining what the dates will be, bringing them to us so that we can approve if we're going to have resources allocated to those dates.
I mean, essentially, they would be bringing a recommendation to
Yes,
us.
that's exactly what it would be. So it's not cutting out our staff in any way. Any additional discussion? All right, a roll call on the amendment. Yes, in support of the amendment.
Commissioner Winfrey? Yes.
Commissioner Getzinger?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
All right, 3 yes and 5 yes and 3 no. Motion passes. All right, now we have before us the volunteer time off policy. What is your pleasure?
Does the original motion stand? Or
No,
do I
we
need-
just voted on the.
We amended it. Do you need me to
yes.
move it again, or no?
Yes, if you
Okay,
will, for the
I'll move resolution 2025-1, 1547.
All right, and that becomes a .1 because we amended it. All right, as amended. Okay, is there support?
Support.
All right, Commissioner Winfrey supports. Is there any discussion on the policy? All right, seeing no discussion, was there a roll call requested?
Yes.
Okay, roll call, Madam Clerk. A yes is in support.
Commissioner Lloyd?
Yes.
Commissioner Winfrey?
Yes.
Commissioner Getzinger?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
No.
Commissioner Shoemaker?
No.
Commissioner Kuzma?
No.
Commissioner Wayhill?
Yes.
Commissioner Flewelly?
No.
Who didn't vote? Oh, Avery's not here. Okay. Okay, so the motion fails. I have a question. Motion fails. So my question is, maybe through you to Corporation Counsel, or maybe you can, what happens now that, because we've bargained the contracts, a number of the contracts have this in it as negotiated, does this fail in any way impact that? What does that look like, et cetera?
So we were kind of holding off until our final contracts were approved. We have 3 of them, I think, 3 or 4. Just don't have a policy on how you want us to implement volunteer days.
Okay, all right.
Doesn't make them go away, we just don't have a process in place that will create them.
Okay, so, so I'll follow up with our office and then, determine what's the appropriate next step, if there is an appropriate next step, all right? All right, back to you, Commissioner Wayhill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Resolution 2025-1726, recognition of Migraine and Headache Awareness Month, June 2025.
All right, it's been moved and supported by Commissioner Shoemaker. All right,
And I read this one in full last week, so I won't read it again this evening.
come back. Okay.
Okay, I think we skipped resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry, we did. My apologies. Well,
We did, we'll come back to it.
Can we do this one? I'm
because we have a
sorry about
motion on
that.
the floor. All right. Is there any discussion on Resolution 2025-1726? Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Now we have Resolution 2025-1689.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Resolution 2025-1689, approval of an agreement between Genesee County, the Michigan Department of Attorney General, to provide for up to 4 special assistant attorneys general positions. These are grant-funded positions.
All right, it's been moved and supported by Commissioner Shoemaker. Is there any discussion? All right, Prosecutor Layton.
Just here to answer questions if anybody has any.
All right,
This came from, this has been in place for some time. This started with Governor Rick Snyder when he came to Flint years back, wondering how he could help stem violent crime. One of the ways through what ultimately became the Distressed Cities Initiative was to hire some special assistant attorneys general, assign them to my office. We hire them, we direct them, but the state pays them. And it's been in place all this time. Also, as part of this was the opening of the city lockup, you might recall, and some road patrols. I don't know the status of those programs anymore, but my part of it has stayed in place all these years. Currently, we have 3 of the 4 positions filled. It's difficult to find lawyers to take these positions. The 3 that we have are all retired lawyers who can afford to maybe get their pension or to hit their 401ks and get some extra funds because these positions don't pay all that great. But it's been helpful to me, and I'd like to keep the program in place. It costs the county just the cost of giving them an office and some supplies.
Commissioner Getzinger.
This does not address that new, what you talked about.
This is totally separate from what I presented to you about the life without parole cases, which I'm coming to see you on next month. And this is totally separate from the funding I received from the state of Michigan that's enhanced my staff that came last year and the year before. This is a totally separate program.
Is it possible they could be used for that, or you already got them buried in work?
This program has never been increased in all the years it's been in place. We're fortunate that it's still in place, but it's never been increased, and it just doesn't give us all that much money, but it has been helpful. For example, one of my special assistant attorneys general is Mike Thomas, the former Saginaw County prosecutor. He handles the drug courts for us. Short of him being there, I don't think we'd be able to staff the drug courts. So that's one thing. Retired assistant prosecutor Tim Cassidy is back. He retired, he went to Ferris as a professor. Now he's helping me in the warrant division. So this has been and Janet McLaren is another. Retired from Genesee County, came back, she's in our appellate division.
All right, any additional discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prosecutor. Mr. Chair, I move Resolution 2025-1757, recognition of Jewish Heritage Month, May 2025.
All right, it's been moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Cousineau. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I've not read this one. It's coming to us straight from the DEI Commission. It wasn't in committee.
Point of order. Did we vote on 1689?
We voted on,
Just no.
we did.
Yeah, we did on 8-9.
Before,
Yes, we voted on 8-9.
I think we went into discussion. I don't recall a vote on it.
We voted right after
voted,
Layton,
yeah.
Prosecutor Layton spoke.
So what is your question? I'm sorry.
No, I was just curious, did we vote on 1689? We did?
We did.
Fine, okay.
Right. So
Wayhill.
I've not read this one because we didn't have it in committee last week, so I'll read it now. To the Honorable Chairperson and members of the Genesee County Board of Commissioners, Genesee County, Michigan, ladies and gentlemen, whereas the United States and individual states across the nation, including Michigan, have recognized Jewish heritage in May, starting with President Jimmy Carter's recognition of Jewish American Heritage Week in 1980, that was broadened to proclaiming May as Jewish American Heritage Month by President George W. Bush in 2006, which recognized the contributions Jewish people have made to American culture over the last 350 years, and whereas the Jewish community in Genesee County has offered social services for people of all races, religions, and nationalities through the Flint Jewish Federation's congregate meal, mobile meal, immigration, and referral service programs, as well as facilitated transportation to medical appointments and grocery shopping, and whereas the Flint Jewish Federation has also organized annual opportunities for members of the local community to celebrate Jewish culture and build connections across cultures through the Karen Schneider Flint Jewish Film Festival, Daniel Pearl World Music Days Humanity and Harmony Concert, Donald Regal Community Service Awards in support of Martin Luther King Jr. tribute activities, and has also worked to deepen understanding of Jewish history through annual Holocaust commemoration and to deepen relationships between groups of Jews and people of color through activities such as joint visits to the Zeckelman Holocaust Museum and Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. And whereas local Jewish people are notable volunteers, donors, and supporters of numerous cultural, educational, social justice, and business institutions in Genesee County, including but not limited to the Flint Institute of Arts, Flint Institute of Music, Sloan Longway, Food Bank of Eastern Michigan, Crim Fitness Foundation, Gloria Cole's Flint Public Library, and Flint Children's Museum. And whereas Jewish people in Genesee County have been actively involved in combating bigotry and discrimination in all forms, including working to end racial housing discrimination practices, securing voting rights for all, and helping to resettle refugees escaping oppression in other countries, including David Miller, who coordinated the resettlement and acculturation of over 450 refugees from the former Soviet Union and 43 Russian Muslim Turkish families, and Robert Seeger, an attorney who successfully argued the Virginia poll tax case before the U.S. Supreme Court in 1966, which found that poll taxes in state elections were unconstitutional. Now therefore be it resolved that the Genesee County Board of Commissioners hereby recognizes the month of May 2025 as Jewish Heritage Month in Genesee County and encourages all county departments to engage in celebratory activities and appropriate recognitions, such participation in community events, sharing stories, and learning about Jewish Americans and the contributions they have made to our county and nation. Be it further resolved that the Genesee County Clerk Register is directed to provide one copy of this resolution to each city, village, and township within Genesee County and to each county clerk in the state of Michigan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a friendly addition to this resolution because I think there's one prominent person that has been omitted from the resolution, and that is the gentleman who spoke earlier, Stephen Lowe, who is the Executive Director of the Flint Jewish Federation. So in paragraph 5, at the end of paragraph 5, I'd like to add, and Stephen C. Lowe, whose steadfast leadership as the Executive Director of the Flint Jewish Federation has animated the rich legacy of Jewish families in Genesee County.
Support.
All right. So now we have an amendment on the floor, right, as a substitute, because it's already been moved. So we have a substitute motion on the floor to amend the resolution as already stated, supported by Commissioner Cousineau. Is there any discussion on the amendment?
I'll add to discussing Commissioner Brown's motion. I am in favor of it and will support it. I have a guess that because the Jewish Federation worked with the DEI Commission to put this language together, that maybe Mr. Lowe was underselling his contributions and perhaps did not recommend his own name be in it. So I think it's a valuable addition. Thank you.
All right. Any additional discussion on the amendment? All right, seeing no additional discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Now we're back to our original motion. That resolution becomes a point 1 as amended. What is your pleasure? So we'll need a new motion.
I'll move it again. Resolution 2025-1757 as amended.
Support.
All right, moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Brown. Any additional discussion? All right, Commissioner Shoemaker.
If I may, couple questions. One, why didn't it get through subcommittee?
Yep, there was a meeting, a special meeting of the DEI Commission where they passed that in order to get it on the agenda in May.
My next statement is, I'd like us, not just as a board, but if the DEI Commission is going to bring these forward or anyone else, is to bring them the month before, so that whole month is celebrated, like I said, if we're going to do these. This is the first time we've passed this resolution down here. So it'd be nice moving forward with everyone else, because there's a lot of firsts, because before, as I stated before, and I took a lot of flack for, there were only 2 groups we recognized before. And I'm happy to see that we're starting to live up to the policy we passed years ago. I hope everyone, and I mean everyone, can be recognized. If we're going to recognize any, all can be moving forward. I'm excited to see this one. I want to thank them. I hope the DEI Commission keeps reaching out and finding more groups that have supported our city, who have supported the county of Genesee County and our state. So thank you.
All right, any additional discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Is there a report of the Government Operations Committee?
No report, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you so much. Brings us to Human Services Committee. Our chairperson is Commissioner Winfrey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move Resolution 2025-1339, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and the Greater Flint Health Coalition in an amount not to exceed $500,000 to provide Medicaid outreach services on behalf of Genesee County. The cost will be paid from the following account.
Support.
All right, moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Brown. Any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes.
I move Resolution 2025-1552, approval of an amendment to a contract between Genesee County and the Valley Area Agency on Aging in an amount of $108,900 to provide for additional senior meals. The budget for this amendment is attached.
Support.
All right, it's been moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Brown. Any discussion, Commissioner Shoemaker?
If I may, what fund are these dollars coming from?
This was an additional grant, but Pam is coming up.
You give your name and department. Maybe I should start asking that for the public knowledge.
Yes, sir. Pamela Coleman, Director of G-Card. Through the chair to Commissioner Shoemaker, I believe I understood your question. This is the Valley portion of the Nutrition Services Agreement. So it comes from that particular fund, 2731. I believe I'm understanding your question.
Yes. Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
All right, any additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Commissioner Winfrey.
Okay, I move Resolution 2025-1583, approval of an agreement between Genesee County, Genesee Area Focus Fund, and Genesee Chamber Foundation to provide summer employment opportunities for youth. This grant-funded program will provide employment for 15 youth.
Support.
All right, been supported by Commissioner Shoemaker, moved by the chair. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, motion passes. Is there a report of the Human Services?
No report, but I'd like to give kudos to Prosecutor Layton for his role in the release of Mr. Horace Peterson, who had been confined to prison for 52 years. So kudos to Prosecutor Layton.
Thank you. Now we've come to our Public Works Committee. Commissioner Brian Flewellen, Chairperson, Commissioner James Avery, Vice Chairperson.
Chair, move Resolution 25-1444, Approval of purchase order with Jack Doheny Company for the fiscal year ending 2025 in an amount not to exceed $100,000 to provide for parts and repairs to drain equipment. The cost of this purchase will be paid from the accounts listed.
Support.
All right, been moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Dr. Brown. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Move Resolution 25-1534, approval of a purchase agreement for 452 South Saginaw Street in an amount not to exceed $300,000. The cost of this purchase agreement will be paid from accounts listed.
Support.
All right, been moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Cousineau. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Move Resolution 25-1592, approval of an agreement between Genesee County, Genesee Area Focus Fund, and Genesee Chamber Foundation to provide summer employment opportunities for youth. This grant-funded program will provide employment for 14 youth at Genesee County's Parks and Recreation Commission.
Support.
All right, it's been moved by the chair, supported by Commissioner Wayhill. Any discussion? I have quick discussion. You know, with so many youth throughout our community who are desiring of positive opportunity and certainly employment during these summer months, it is great to see that we have a resolution before us tonight that will provide such opportunities to youth within our community. I'm hopeful that maybe we'll be able to identify additional opportunities, even knowing that we may not be able to provide employment for all, but I believe that this goes a long way in ensuring that we have youth that are working and gaining additional skills that will be able to help them in their lives. Is there any additional discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Is there a report from the Public Works Committee?
No report, sir.
All right, seeing no report, that brings us to the end of our standing committee reports. Mr. Freeman, do we have any unfinished business?
No, sir.
All right, no unfinished business. Under new and miscellaneous business, I'm going to defer to our corporate counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Under the Open Meetings Act, this body is allowed to go into closed session for certain reasons. One specific reason tonight is under MCL 15.268 subsection 1 subsection H, which is to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute. And tonight I understand that this board would like to talk with me about a written legal opinion, which is protected by the attorney-client privilege, and it is exempt from disclosure under the Freedom of Information Act. So I would ask that if you would like to go into closed session, make a motion, and you need 6 votes via roll call.
So moved.
Support.
All right, moved by Commissioner Winfrey, supported by Commissioner Flewelling. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, roll call. Madam Clerk. Yes.
Commissioner Winfrey.
Yes.
Commissioner Getzinger.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Yes.
Commissioner Cousineau.
No.
Commissioner Wayhill.
Yes.
Commissioner Llewellyn.
Yes.
Passes 7-1.
All right, motion passes 7-1. At this time, we'll stand at ease in the public setting and we'll enter executive session.
This weekend, we're gonna do her.
Okay, good, because I'm out next week.
Oh, good, okay. Yeah, my wife said they've got nothing to do this week, but that means she's gonna put me to work, but. What time is the Saturday?
2:00.
2 is our evening then?
I'm going to call this meeting of the Genesee County Board of Commissioners back to order at this time. There are no additional items on our agenda. Motion to adjourn is in order at this time. All right, been moved and supported. Those who want to leave, we can leave. Those who want to stay, you can stay.
Hey, that's mine.